have a gender non-binary candidate or officer, the non-binary individual is counted as neither male nor female, and the remaining 6 offices must be gender balanced. With the results of the previous 4 elections, our elected officers are currently 2 male and 2 female. In order to be gender balanced, we must elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender. So again, this is what we have to do for this vice chair race. We have to elect 1 male, 1 female, and 1 person of any gender. To ensure our process accounts for male, female, and non-binary candidates, we conferred with our RBC co-chair, our LGBT caucus co-chair, and others to ensure that the process is inclusive and meets the gender balance requirements in our rules. To do this,
okay. Wow. So that was the DNC elections this past weekend. And you could see clearly that even the presiding chair doesn't even get the rules. It shows you how insane these people are, you know? So they elected that nut job who made that silly video dancing around on the American Rescue Plan, okay, as chair from out of Minnesota. And then that 24-year-old nut job, David Hogg, as vice chair, you know, who tweeted out once, you have no right to a firearm because it's for the National Guard, which basically the National Guard being a federalized institution and you can be shipped off to Tower 22 in Jordan is not a militia, okay, which he thinks it is. A militia is people in a community, armed citizens. See, the Founding Fathers wanted an armed citizenry so that citizens can get together and train and whatever, maybe your county, your town, or whatever. Okay, so it's just nuts. But yeah, so I think that where they're going, at least in this chair, is more left. You know, more of this ideological woke stuff. Now, I don't think the DNC has much power in the Democratic Party as the RNC is, as they're very decentralized, particularly in their funding. But still. And it shows you insane. The concept of inclusion, as he said in the end of that, is insane and not true. Because if you set a quota for one group, you are therefore excluding that other person that would have been up. Hence, it is not inclusionary. It is the opposite. So I just thought I'd start my video with that today. And so today is February 3rd. It is 7:45 Eastern Standard Time here in East Tennessee. So, yeah, we'll go with that. So, since we're on the left in lunacy, I came across this today. Okay. So, these are some quotes on Reddit, which the left loves to use. Just going nuts. Okay. Particularly, this is with the USAID shutdown today. So, their names, drag their effing bodies, cause time to drop the mitts. You need to know which needs to cripple, how many to cripple. It's time to do more than dragging names. Let's drag their necks up by a large coil of rope. These people all live somewhere. Sound like threats to me on the internet. I mean, is that me? You know, so I really, you know, clearly they're unhinged and so forth. So, you know, it's going so fast. You can't. I do these videos and so much has happened. So, let's do some updates on the nominations. Okay, Wright was just approved today. We also had, you know, Nome was also approved over the weekend, basically, for HHS. The betting markets now have Gabbard up to 90% chance of going in as more senators announce their support. Tom Tillis came out and said he's going to support RFK. Cassidy is still undecided, so we need to get on his ass on social media. And he's up in 26. He votes no. We primary him. We announced the primary. Whoever, the best guy we got in Louisiana, announced the campaign right now. Okay? You know, maybe there's even a recall thing, but it's ridiculous with this guy. My prediction is he folds and votes for it. He doesn't want to be in that position. So here we are with that. So let's just jump into tariffs. So now, as the time of this video, if you did not know, about an hour ago, because we know Mexico caved, okay, 30-day pause on the tariffs, okay, but Canada just caved as well, okay. So there's going to be a 30-day pause. He's going to spend $1.3 billion on the border plan. He's going to deploy 10,000 troops. This is Trudeau of Canada to the border, and some other minor things that'll stave that off. So, but I just want to go back to this tariff thing. So currently Canada imposes tariffs on United States products ranging from 245% to 298% on items like milk, cheese, and butter, dairy products. There is a 238% tariff on poultry products. Fish products are subject to a 100% tariff. Tobacco products face tariffs of 100% or more. General consumer goods like shoes and clothing are taxed at 30%. A 20% tariff is applied to lumber. Eggs are taxed at 163, barley at 160, wheat at 94%, sugar at 265%. All right, so that's not free trade, folks. So it's not like Trump was starting this anyway. So I wonder, why is there a 30-day pause? Why doesn't this go away? Because he's going to use this again to go on that. We're only giving you 30 days to get your stuff together because this is action one. Okay? Because I want you to understand something, and I'm rounding here. United States imports around $380 to $390 billion in Canadian goods. We import around like 470, 480 in that range of Canadian goods. But yet we have a trade deficit with Canada. And why is that? It is because of the tariff imbalance. Okay? And also we take in, I just read that 94% of canola oil comes from Canada. And it's can in canola. It's actually rapeseed oil. It's not even good for you. That's just, I digress. But show you that things are not balanced. But people don't know that. Okay? Even under USMCA just improved our standing going forward with Mexico and so forth. So there's still a trade problem. Okay? We get in, we import lots of energy, particularly like New York State does from Canada and so forth. Basically no tariffs on that. But yet, New York has a lot of dairy farmers. They try to export to Canada, 250% tariff right off the bat. They can't compete. So the profit margins on that trade are much smaller for American businesses. Okay? You know, if there wasn't that tariff and they could sell more goods and compete with Canadian goods, maybe the price of eggs and butter, because there'll be more in the marketplace, okay, in North America, could possibly bring down the prices a little bit. So on this was at Reuters, second after the news came out. One hit a record low. Mexican peso, Canadian dollar tumble on Trump tariffs. Okay, so what does that mean? The markets still favor in a trade war with Trump. We can call it a Trump war if you want, even though it was a slip up. But it is it shows you that the markets favor the United States on this. Because we hold the leverage, sheer volume, size. We have more exports to Canada. Okay, Mexico relies on a lot from the United States. Okay, and again, we are the reserve currency right now. So it's favorable to not use that leverage to get things and to improve our status. Because remember, this is also about protecting the American people, whether it's securing the border, fentanyl imports, imports like it's a legitimate item, okay? And there's reports that organized crime in Canada is actually making the fentanyl products there to bring across the border. So it's not just all Chinese, okay? So with the Mexico, so Larry Schweikert put this out. Mexican authorities have arrested El Ricky, a regional leader of Cartel del Noreste, one of the most powerful and violent cartels in Mexico. So that's That's action. They're going after that. They're moving 10,000 troops to the border. And I just got a report out from Liberalized Sports on X that there's reports of American intelligence aircraft in Mexican airspace right now. Permission with the Mexican government, I guess, was allowed in the deal. We're going to start targeting and working in the Mexican government to target some of these cartels. I don't know. They just arrested one and now there are intelligence flights out there. So it is possible that more is to be gained here, and there are even more moving parts going forward. All right. So let's go on to the USAID. Now, the USAID it's a grifting operation, and on my next slide, I'll get there. But this was one that really stuck out to me because anybody who's watched my videos knows my positions on the whole COVID affair that we all lived through. Let me get this straight. Thatcher's NIAID and USAID sent over $40 million in U.S. taxpayer support to a scientist in Wuhan who was working on bat coronavirus emergence research, who also became patient zero for COVID-19. And the completion date for that funding was in 2019. So it doesn't mean the research stopped in 2019. It just means that set of funds went there for them to get going with that research. You know, we all know it came from a lab. Remember, but everybody said otherwise. It was censored, it was racist, and all that stuff. So here you go. So what is in this USAID? Okay, they send money to most ridiculous stuff. Okay, it's NGOs. It was created by executive order, and it had an initial purpose. Okay, but now it's just a big grift. Okay, and it works. Rubio said it best this morning. Okay, if they're acting on their own, just sending money to places, taxpayer money to places, it could be in direct conflict with American foreign policy. Okay, so you have a rogue agency basically sending funds that could cause a problem to our foreign policy or send mixed messages. And you can't have that, okay, if you're trying to conduct foreign policy. Now, there's also a lot of shenanigans and money's going to shady places. And it's just like, you know, like I said, a rogue agency where if I can't get it through Congress or the official bill, just use the USAID. Okay, so we're getting control of this funding back. Okay, and I also read that 97% of funds that came out of the USAID that went to political action, 97% went to Democrats. Shocker, right there. Now you know why they're upset, because of the grift. So let's go show you a tweet who just nailed it like perfectly. Here's how the USAID grift works. If you want taxpayer dollars from the government, be a serial grifter like Bill Kristol. Create an institute dedicated to defending democracy. USAID then gives you money to defend democracy. Spend a portion of what they give you on kickbacks to Democrats, campaigns, and unpaid PR, and push their agenda domestically or internationally. Pay yourself a salary through the institute and profit. There you go. I mean, that's it. And I think because they were up late at Doge working last night, saw the pictures and everything like that, they're uncovering things like crazy. Guy, we got to shut this thing down. It is unconstitutional. It is contrary to American foreign policy, and it's a grift. Just shut it down. Whatever few things that they're doing that are good, put it under the State Department. Done. Now, this official government agency that's just provided cover for agendas and political PR and money-making schemes, right? Because you pay yourself that salary and so forth. It's gone now. Okay? And that's great. And it was created by executive order. It can go out by executive order. But watch them use the courts. But even drag it out. Okay? So they're protesting now. We got protests now in, with the FBI because you can't, if you prosecuted the commander-in-chief, you cannot work for the commander-in-chief. How could I work for somebody I tried to put in jail? A little bit of a conflict here. So therefore, you cannot, because every employee in the executive branch serves at the discretion of the elected president of the United States, accountable to the people. So they're going to be gone. And there are going to be other senior DOJ people gone. So the FBI people are protesting there. They're planning a walkout for tomorrow. Great. Lock them out. Just, cut off their key card so they can't come back in again. End of story. Problem solved. And continue the gutting. All of this, trade wars, the USAID, all this stuff, the border is about improving the lives of American citizens. Our opportunities, our national security, okay, even our culture, okay, it's all about preserving that and bringing it back and altering this post-war system, meaning end of World War II, and then when it got really bad at the end of the Cold War, and just bringing this new world order crashing down, and along with it, the corruption of agencies like USAID. So, thought I'd jump on a little economic news. This is for the month of January, global PMI and by country. So if you don't know, that line there where everything goes left or right, 50 is even. If you have a PMI above 50, you're growing. If you have a PMI below 50, you are contracting. Look at the countries at the top. India, not surprised there. Colombia, Russia, I thought their economy was doing horrible. Greece, Philippines, Indonesia, Canada, Kazakhstan, USA, Taiwan, Spain, Brazil, whatever. Now look at some of the other countries contracting. Well, Turkey's got an inflation problem like crazy, but that's why. UK, good job, Starmer, and the end of the Tory government. Those green policies are really working well. Same thing with Holland, Poland, Austria. Look at Germany and France, man. I mean, that's serious contraction, and they're leading the way. Why? Crazy green policies, deindustrialization, and they also cut off their cheap energy to fuel their industries. It's driving up costs. Plus, big spending and so forth policies, just like here. That demand push and supply pull type inflation's working here. So, I thought I'd share that. And so what was this? This is from a big publication in Turkey called Turkey. This was the headline. It was in a foreign language, but I'll give you the gist on that. Basically, Turkey has just made a deal with the new HDS government of Syria. It's okay because they've been operating in there because they want control of their Kurdish problem. Okay, their biggest fear is the Kurds, the PKK, and possible state, and there are also Kurds living in the Turkish side as well. But they're going to be able to operate 2 military bases, have X amount of aircraft. They're going to build these military bases in northeast Syria, and they're going to have X amount of aircraft. So that'll give stability, at least to the new Syrian government, I guess is what they're thinking. Okay, but that's going to give them free reign there. Now remember, we back the Kurds. Traditionally, I mean, we've abandoned them before in the past, but it's not like we've never done that before. So I thought that was on an interesting front. So now I'm going to do something a little different here because everything's been moving so fast. Is just going to scroll through my Twitter feed a little bit here so we can be right up to date at the time of this video. So here we go. Protesters are screaming outside NYU Hospital in New York City after President Trump blocked them from giving puberty blockers to multiple children via executive order. The groomers are absolutely livid. So there's the protest outside there. This is Trump talking about USAID. Now this was interesting. Here's a guy complaining about prison guards overseeing thousands of ISIS. This is something that USAID was funding. Prison guards overseeing thousands of ISIS guards walking the job. But Cat Turd says, why are we paying Syria prison guards? This proves our point. You want them in prison, they should be in American prison, or Syria should be taking care of it. You know, they had a government there that could have done it, but you know, we spent years trying to collapse the Assad regime. Migrants burn an American flag while waving foreign flags during a protest against the deportations. So, And then we have the Canadian thing. So Canada tariff. Let's see if we can find the exact terms here. Bingo, libs of TikTok. Here we go. Breaking. Canada's caved. They will pause their proposed tariffs for 30 days and will implement a $1.3 billion border plan, which includes appoint a fentanyl czar, reinforce the border with new choppers, technology, and personnel, send nearly 10,000 personnel to the border, list cartels as terrorist organizations, launch a Canada-U.S. joint strike force to combat organized crime, fentanyl, and money laundering. So the conclusion is, within 48 hours, President Trump has managed to get intelligence aircraft into Mexican airspace. The arrest of Little Ricky of the Nordeste crime family. 10,000 Mexican troops on the border. 10,000 Canadian troops on the border. Insane. That's what winning is. That's what it looks like. Okay? You know, like the Scarborough, oh, we're being mean to our friends. Okay? Yeah, because American citizens are hurting and he's fixing the problem. Okay? And he's creating longevity for the United States as we know it. Okay? So, this is pretty good. So, let's wrap up. And we'll give a little Ukraine update. So, this map is, this is a town, I can't even pronounce it, but it's near Tariffs, okay? So this whole area, basically Ukraine has pulled out of, and this is like a flank that was protecting Tariffs. So it's, I guess, a couple weeks that city should fall. That's one of the last major ones in the Donetsk region. Now this is advances to the west of Pokrovsk, but they're getting really close to the Dnipro Petrovsk Oblast, which is to the northwest of that. So they're clearly just going to keep surrounding Pokrovsk. Pokrovsk. And what I think's going on is that with Pokrovsk, what I understand is that Russia's using very, very small units during the day and at nighttime, because it's a very open area to get there and to get these small villages around Pokrovsk. And so it's open. I mean, like I hear like four guys will go at a time, and then another four a little bit in a different direction. And I guess when they get closer, they can then recongregate into an area so they're not getting across. So they're clearly using very cautious and adapting to the situation of the terrain. And moving at night, they have night goggles and all that kind of stuff. So that was an article I was reading, and it was pretty good. But yeah, so it's a matter of time. Now, if they enter Dnipropetrovsk and come behind Pokrovsk, I mean, that's it. And then another outside of in Lugansk near Makrivka, there's like a huge heights area that the Russians had taken, overlooking that, and they're close to 100% of securing Lugansk. So the original two independent republics, going back to declaring their independence in 2014, they're like 85 to 90% there in Donetsk, and they're about 90 to 95, almost 100% in Lugansk. And now they're moving it closer to Dnipro. Now, if they get into Dnipropetrovsk, they're now coming behind a little bit in the Zaporozhye region to the west as well. So they could just come out and veer west and east and come behind the Ukrainian lines in both Zaporozhye and Pokrovsk. And then I wanted to wrap up with this.
რეალურად რასაც ჩვენ საუბრობდით 3 წლის განმავლობაში და რისთვისაც ჩვენ გვაცხადებდნენ პრორუსულად, ანტიდასავლურად და ამ შემდეგ, ამ ყველაფერს ერთ-ერთი იმეორებს დღეს.
Now, since nobody speaks Georgian, that was the Georgian Prime Minister, Kobakidze. I think I pronounced it correctly. But this is basically what he said. What we have been talking about for 3 years and for which we were declared pro-Russian and anti-Western, the new U.S. government is repeating all this one after another. And this applies to our statements on Ukraine. In fact, our friendly neighboring country was sacrificed. Why? The only result is that Ukraine has been destroyed. 20% of its territory has been lost. This means that more than half of its electricity has been destroyed. I'm not talking about the main tragic event. These are the Ukrainians who died. Why was all this done? No one has an unambiguous answer to this. However, there is one answer. There were some global interests, evil interests, that sacrificed our friendly country, Ukraine. It will take Ukraine about 100 years, a whole century, to return to the state it was in before 2014. This is a tragic event, and we must save our country from this event. 3 years ago, they came with texts like this: Ukraine is winning the war, and you must not miss this chance. They told us this behind closed doors when they called us to open the second front. As experience shows, all this confirms is that our approach was absolutely correct and justified. So what is he saying? Everything I've been saying about the Ukraine war. Okay. And Georgia was afraid that they were going to be the next Ukraine. That's why when the Georgian Dream won, they held fast. They didn't let the protests get out of control and have another type Maidan coup like the Ukrainians had in 2014. So, and he was attacked. But he's not. He's looking out for his nation's interests. He's not pro any side. He's pro the Georgian people. And that's what MAGA's doing here, and all our allied parties in Europe as well. We're looking out for the national interest. So, on that note, I just wanted to say that just keep keep following this stuff. Is pretty crazy with everything going on and all the executive orders. Now, I think the RFK vote is tomorrow, and hopefully he gets that. That'll be good. I really want him to get through. I think Patel's going to get through as well. So I'll be keeping track what's going on with the border situation. If we're going to start moving more assets into Mexico with intelligence, or the Mexican government starts to launch onto these cartels. Same thing with Canada. And we'll keep an eye out, in the Ukraine war. What goes on there with these cities, whatever. Remember, Chasifior is close to falling as well. So I'll be doing that. And then we'll be seeing what's going on with this USAID thing, and also if there's any Chinese retaliation for the tariffs on the 10% that's going in. And maybe we'll get more details on the deals that Trudeau brokered with Trump as the night goes on. So we know what's going on, and let's keep winning. All right. So if you like this video, please follow, like, and share. And you can follow me at Patriot Planner 1 on X and at Patriot Planner on Getter. I've been reposting a little more than normal because of how fast things are going. So have a great night, and I'll probably put out a video. I'm thinking maybe Wednesday or Thursday, and then maybe just doing a quick 10-minute wrap up on X or something like that. All right. Have a good night and a good first part of the week. I'll talk to you later.